Welcome to the deep dive. You're here because, well, you want to get up to speed quickly on important stuff, and today we're doing just that. A real focused look at the huge technological changes since 1900.
Yeah, think of it as a shortcut, maybe. A way to grasp how technology has just fundamentally remade our world.
Exactly. And you've asked us to unpack how key technologies, things in communication, transport, energy, medicine, and agriculture have reshaped things based on the sources we've got.
Right, we'll be digging into everything from, radio and TV, right up to things like the internet, shipping containers, even antibiotics. It's quite a list.
And the common thread, it seems, the really interesting bit, is how all this stuff has basically just shrunk the world, hasn't it?
Definitely. Created this incredible global interconnectedness, a level we've never seen before.
Driven by these amazing tools. But of course, as the sources point out, and we need to remember this, the impact wasn't, the same everywhere.
Not at all. Uneven spread, uneven effects. That's a key point.
Okay, so let's dive in. Where should we start? Maybe communication, how we connect across distance.
Makes sense. I mean, the big goal here, as the material suggests, was always overcoming geography, wasn't it? Building stronger links.
And it wasn't like it happened overnight. We had ships, trains, the telegraph laying the groundwork earlier.
Absolutely. Important groundwork. But the 20th century and now the 21st, that's when things really accelerated.
Take radio. Seems almost quaint now, maybe, but think about it. Suddenly you could send voices, actual voices, directly into homes.
Yeah, it kind of bypassed the whole newspaper filter, didn't it? A direct line.
Imagine a leader, like, speaking directly to everyone at once.
And that's hugely significant, that unfiltered power. FDR, Franklin Roosevelt, he used radio brilliantly, didn't he, during the Depression, World War II.
These fireside chats.
Exactly, to talk directly to Americans, reassure them, explain policies. It was a total game changer for how leaders connected with people.
Then fast forward a bit to the 1960s, and boom, television becomes dominant. Now you're not just hearing, you're seeing.
Right. Suddenly, events happening miles away felt much closer. Think about seeing footage from the Vietnam War on the news every night.
Or the tension during the Cuban Missile Crisis. That visual element, it adds a whole other layer of connection, doesn't it?
Absolutely. A more visceral connection, you could say.
Okay, moving closer to today, the cell phone. It's kind of hard to remember life before them, but the landline, invented way back in 1876,
It was pretty limited at first, yeah. Mostly for businesses, the wealthy, not like today.
the real revolution was cellular, starting in the 80s.
What made that so different was the mobility,
Yeah.
freedom. You weren't tethered to a wall anymore,
Right. And they got smaller, cheaper.
leading to this explosion of communication. Pretty much anywhere, anytime, connecting globally.
And we can't talk communication without the internet. It started as a U.S. government thing, right? Back in the 60s.
Yeah, military scientific data sharing. Very niche initially.
But the core idea, sharing information, that's the seed of it all.
Definitely. And then by the 90s, you get personal computers becoming common. The World Wide Web arrives.
And suddenly it's accessible, affordable for, regular people.
And by the 2000s, wow, email is standard. Businesses talking directly to customers online.
It just sped everything up, communication, commerce, everything. So, yeah, quite a journey from radio waves to global data stream.
Incredible leap.
Okay, so that's connecting minds. What about moving actual stuff, ourselves, goods, transportation?
Yeah, critical piece. Obviously, cars had a massive impact, changed cities, gave us suburbs.
True, but for really long distances, especially after World War II, air travel took over from trains, didn't it? Particularly in the West.
It did. Western economies were growing, people had more disposable income, flying became feasible for work, and importantly, for leisure.
It really did make the world feel smaller, faster.
But maybe the unsung hero, if you look at the global economy, is the shipping container.
Ah, the humble metal box. The sources really emphasize these. Why were they such a big deal? They sound so basic.
Well, it's the standardization. That's
Yeah.
the key. Suddenly you have these uniform boxes that fit perfectly on ships, trains, trucks.
Streamlined everything.
Totally. Loading, unloading, moving cargo, thin clothes,
Mm.
electronics, anything not shipped loose like grain became way more efficient.
And that efficiency, that's what allowed manufacturing to shift, right?
Exactly. Businesses could suddenly set up factories in, say, developing countries where labor was much cheaper.
And just pack the goods into containers and ship them anywhere easily and affordably.
Precisely. Lower wages, easy shipping. It fundamentally changed global economics.
It all connects.
Right.
Wild. Okay, so what powers all this movement, all this making of stuff? Energy.
Right. And petroleum, oil was huge, refined into fuel for cars, planes, used for electricity.
Mm.
It really powered the 20th century's growth, especially in developed nations.
Became more efficient than coal for factories too, apparently.
Yeah, for industrial manufacturing, it kind of democratized power in a way, at least in wealthier countries.
But the sources flag the downsides too. More production, more consumption
Yeah.
means more pollution, right?
Yeah.
And big disasters.
Absolutely, a major consequence, and something we'll definitely explore more later, but yeah, crucial context.
And then there was nuclear power, pitched as a cleaner option.
In terms of air pollution, yes, it doesn't produce greenhouse gases like burning fossil fuels does, so it looked attractive.
But then came the accidents. 3 Mile Island in the U.S., Chernobyl in the Soviet Union.
Yeah, those disasters in the 70s and 80s,
Yeah.
they caused terrible human and environmental damage, and, understandably, they massively soured public opinion on nuclear energy.
Understandably, huge lasting impact. Okay, let's shift gears again. Technologies that impact us very directly our health. Medicine.
A massive area of change. Antibiotics, for starters, substances that kill bacteria.
Penicillin. 1928, that was the first big one.
That was the breakthrough, yes. Suddenly, infections that were often deadly, especially, say, for soldiers wounded in war, could be treated. A lifesaver.
Hard to overstate the impact. And vaccines, too. The idea isn't new. The sources mention early forms in China centuries ago.
True, but the 20th century saw a real explosion in vaccine development and use.
Thanks to medical advances. Vaccines for measles, pneumonia, polio, flu.
Loads of them. And the result? People started surviving diseases that used to kill millions and living longer overall. Huge gains in lifespan.
Then there's birth control. The sources make an interesting point. Didn't save lives from disease, but definitely altered them.
Fundamentally altered them, yeah.
Yeah.
The pill, developed in the 50s using synthetic hormones,
To prevent pregnancy. Became super widely used.
and led to falling fertility rates, pretty much globally, but again, unevenly. You see population decline in Japan, some European countries,
Slower growth in the U.S.
and still rapid growth in parts of the developing world, like sub-Saharan Africa. Really complex demographic shifts.
Shows how technology ripples out, causes big societal changes. Okay, final area. Agriculture. Feeding ourselves.
Right. And the sources draw a line between subsistence farming, just growing enough for your family.
And commercial farming, which is
Oh.
about profit, maximizing output.
Exactly. And commercial farming relies on expensive tech tractors, combines, so it's more common in wealthier countries.
Makes sense. And then Green Revolution. Sounds dramatic.
It really was.
Yeah.
A fundamental shift, mid-20th century, 50s, 60s. Scientists used genetic modification techniques.
To create new types of grain crops, high-yield ones.
Yeah, crops that produced way more grain per plant. And these were introduced specifically into developing countries with big populations but low farm output. Think Mexico, India, Indonesia.
And did it work?
Dramatically.
Quiet.
Crop yields shot up like 3 or 4 times what they were before. It basically produced enough food to feed those huge populations, averting widespread famine. A massive success in that sense.
But there's always a but, isn't there? Environmental concerns.
There were. Critics pointed out issues like planting multiple crops a year on the same land to maximize yield that exhausted the soil, caused erosion,
Okay.
and the increased use of chemical fertilizers, pesticides, led to pollution, agricultural runoff getting into fresh water. So, yeah, progress, but complicated.
Definitely seems to be the theme. So wrapping this up then, it's clear the last century or so has just seen this incredible explosion of technology across the board.
Yeah, communication, transport, energy, medicine, agriculture, all deeply interconnected now.
And the big takeaway, like the sources stress, is how these technologies drove this massive increase in global interconnectedness.
The world got smaller, faster, more linked together through instant communication, rapid travel, global supply chains, everything.
Yeah, and it's a big, but we have to remember what the materials highlight.
Yeah.
The benefits, the access, it hasn't been evenly spread. Far from it.
A really crucial point. Some parts of the world jumped ahead much faster than others.
So reflecting on all this rapid change, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Here's something to think about. What do you reckon the next big technological shift will be? The next thing that fundamentally redraws our connected world?
And maybe just as important,
Hmm.
what might its unintended consequences be?
Good question. Definitely food for thought. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.